Hope you're doing great. I started playing Metro Exodus, and it's okay so far. It's okay. It's got an interesting story. Basically, there's a nuclear apocalypse, and humanity's forced underground because the above ground is still polluted by the toxicity, and you can't breathe the air. It's polluted, so it's radiated. That was what I was looking for. Still polluted by radiation, so they're just waiting for it to clear before they can go above ground. But then one of the characters gets a radio signal from above ground, so he's like, wait, are there people living above ground? So he always leaves his underground base to go look for people, and keeps getting in trouble with the people that live underground because they're like, you need to stop doing this. You got a family, you got people that need you down here, and you keep going up there. You need to stop that. But he's convinced that there are people out there, so he doesn't want to stop. And yeah, the story is just about him searching for life, I guess. It's interesting. I'll see. It's still the early stages, so I'll see if I like it or not. It's set in Russia, so everyone's got a Russian accent. So I actually downloaded the Russian voice pack because I wanted to hear how it sounds with Russian dialogue, like when it's performed in the Russian language and I just read the English subtitles. And I don't know. I don't know if I like it. The Russian dialogue sounds kind of flat. There's not as much enthusiasm behind those vocal performances. So I might go back to English, because the English ones sound more professional. That's the thing with voice acting. Like sometimes you want to hear it in like the language of that the game is supposed to be. The language that the characters are supposed to be speaking. But then you listen to it in that language and it's like, it's not good, so you just go back to English. You know, with anime, there's all debates between subbed and dubbed. I actually prefer subbed. I think anime is one of those ones where the voice acting in the original language that the series or the show was created in is always usually better. I think the only exception I can think of is Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. Because the Japanese voice acting in Dragon Ball is terrible. It's just bad. It's so bad. The English is way, way, way better. But everything else subbed is always better. Like the vocal performances in sub are so superior to the English performances. And there's just some things that you can't translate into another language. And I'm not talking necessarily about literal meanings of words like definitions. It can also be just the way things are said. You just lose so much because language isn't just words. It's expression. It's how you say things. That's the part of a language. It's not just what you say. It's how you say it. So there's this thing called phonetics. Phonetics. Let's Google what that means so I get it right. Let's say phonetics meaning the study and classification of speech sounds. Let's say AI. Phonetics is the branch of linguistics that studies the sounds of human speech. It focuses on how sounds are produced, transmitted, and perceived. Here's a breakdown of the main aspects. Articulatory phonetics. So the focus is how speech sounds are made or articulated by the human vocal organs. The key concepts are place of articulation, where in the vocal tract the sound is made, lips, teeth, palate, the manner of articulation, how the airflow is modified, so stop, fricative, nasal, voicing, whether and that is whether the vocal cords vibrate, voiced sounds like B, D, G, or not, voiceless sounds like P, T, K. And then there's acoustic phonetics, and the focus of that is the physical properties of speech sounds, particularly how they are transmitted through the air. Key concepts are frequency, which is the pitch of the sound measured in hertz, and then amplitude, which is the loudness or intensity of the sound, and then formants, which is resonance frequencies of the vocal tract, which give vowels their distinct sounds. We're getting deep into this. Bear with me. And then there's auditory phonetics. So the focus of that is perception of speech sounds by the listener. So auditory phonetics, perception of speech sounds by the listener. So I'm going to read all this and then we're going to break it down bit by bit. Oh my gosh, this is such a long... We'll go through it. I guess this is what my video is about to make. So auditory phonetics, perception of speech sounds by the listener, key concepts, perceptual clues, how listeners distinguish between different sounds, like the difference between P and B. Categorical perception, how similar sounds are grouped into categories by the brain. Applications. Language teaching, helping learners to pronounce sounds that are not in their native language. Speech therapy, which is correcting pronunciation issues. Forensic phonetics, analyzing voice recordings for legal purposes. And then technology, which is developing speech recognition systems, text-to-speech synthesis. And then the notation, phonetic transcription often uses International Phonetic Alphabet, which provides a standardized system of symbols to represent each distinct sound found in human languages. For instance, P represents the voiceless bilabial stop, as in English pat. And this, oh my gosh, there's a symbol here that I don't recognize. It's some random symbol. Represents a near open front unrounded vowel, as in cat in American English. Okay. Phonetics is crucial not just for understanding how languages work, but also for practical applications in education, technology, and communication. It's a field that bridges the gap between the physical production of speech and the cognitive processes involved in understanding it. Wow. So going back to what I was saying, a language is more than just its words. Like it's not just what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. I don't think we're gonna go through all that again. I think you get the gist. How you say like, so what parts of your mouth are you using when you're speaking? That actually changes. That varies from language to language. Different languages place different emphasis. Different languages place different emphasis on different types of speech. So you might, so for example, here in South Africa, we've got Xhosa, which is very focused on the click noise. You know, a lot of clicks in all the words. And like Q sound. Q in maybe in a Western country would be not similar to like a C, whereas here Q would be like that sort of sound. So you can see how there's a big difference in not just what is being said, but how it's being said, how it's being communicated. And that gives you an entirely different experience when you're speaking to someone. It's like different flavors. It's like it paints a different picture. That's why you do lose a lot when you translate something from its original language. There are just certain things that just cannot be communicated. Like Japanese and English, two very, very different languages. You're just not getting the same experience when you have a translation, when you're translating something. It's always better to digest it in its original language, whatever you're consuming, whatever media you're consuming. So going back to the question of sub versus dub, the reason why I believe sub is far superior in my experience. I've consumed both. I've watched dub, I've watched sub. There's just something like for example, like Japanese humor. It does not translate into English. And it's not because of like the direct translation. It's not the words. It's the way they say the things that they say. Like when a Japanese guy says "baka," which is idiot, or "ahoy, ahoy," which is also idiot. Like there's just it's not funny when it's said in English because it's the way they say it that's just as important as what they're actually saying. Because, you know, when you translate it into English, it's like fool. So Killer B from Naruto, when he says fool, you're fool, that's what he says in English when you watch Naruto in English. But when you watch it in Japanese, it's bakayaro, konayaro, or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But it's so much more funnier when he says it in Japanese versus when he says it in English. It's way funnier when he says it in Japanese. Because of the way he's saying it. You know what he's saying. It's an accurate translation when they put it into English and it says fool, you're fool, but it's not funny. And there's so many examples of that. The Japanese gangster, you know, the stereotypical Japanese gangster with the toothpick in his mouth. He always stares at you like, you always when he's like pressing you and he wants to, you know, intimidate you. With his hands in his pocket and he's like toothpick in his mouth and he's looking at you like this. And he has like his voice is kind of slurred and if you know, you know. If you know how Japanese gangsters in anime talk, you know. It's not funny when they translate it into English. You lose that characteristic, that vibe. Because it goes back to what I was saying. Phonetics isn't necessarily concerned with the meaning of words, but the sound of words, which does emphasize meaning and give new meaning and all these sort of things. I feel like phonetics is like it's like the color of the language, you know? Like if you're coloring in your words or something like that. That analogy might leave things wanting, but you know what I mean, right? It provides, it enhances the language, your phonetics. So, because I used to have this debate with a lot of people back back in the day, like we'd argue about sub versus dub, and people say there's no difference. It's the same thing. You're just watching sub because you're just trying to be cool and say that you watch things in sub, but it doesn't actually make a difference. It's like, no, it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference when you are watching something in its original language versus watching it when it's just been translated. You lose so much. It's hard to overstate how much you lose. You can't overstate it. It's not like it's an entirely different story or something. So if I watch Naruto in English, I'm getting the gist of it. I'm getting, you know, the basic idea of what they're trying to convey. But guys, it's such a richer, more fulfilling experience when you watch it in the language it was intended to be consumed in. When you listen to it in Japanese, and look, there's levels to this, right? So I'm still losing something because I'm reading text on the screen because I can't understand Japanese. So there's certain things that I won't get, certain jokes I won't get because certain words they can't be translated to English because there's no direct translation for that. So let's say Japanese words that have no English equivalent. So it says here, Japanese language contains numerous words that encapsulate concepts, emotions, or cultural nuances that don't have direct English equivalents. Here is a selection of such words reflecting various aspects of Japanese life, culture, and philosophy. So, komorebi means the sunlight that filters through the trees. This word captures the visual beauty of light dappling through foliage, which is more poetic than the English phrase, sunlight through leaves. Interesting. Wabi-sabi means the aesthetic appreciation of the beauty of transience and imperfection. The aesthetic appreciation of the beauty of transience and imperfection. It embraces the notion of simplicity, naturalness, and the beauty found in the flawed or temporary. Interesting. Tsundoku means the act of buying books and letting them pile up unread. Do you have a word for that? Just call that laziness here. It highlights a very specific behavior with a certain cultural acknowledgement. Mono no aware, the poignant sadness or empathy at the transience of things. It reflects an awareness of the fleeting nature of beauty and life, often evoking a gentle sadness. Shinrin-yoku means the forest bathing or the practice of taking in the forest atmosphere for health benefits, both mental and physical. This concept is deeply rooted in Japanese culture's reverence for nature. Okay, it goes on and on and on. There are multiple words. So yeah, when you're watching an anime, there've been multiple times where, for example, I remember watching Spy X Family, and I was watching. By the way, I tried watching it in English dub because I was watching it in Japanese sub for a while, and then I said, out of curiosity, I said, I wonder how it sounds in English. So I rewatched an episode in English. It was terrible, guys. It was so terrible. It wasn't as funny. Wasn't as interesting. I did not enjoy it. Anyway, going back to the Japanese. When I'll be watching Spy X Family in Japanese and the subtitles, and reading the subtitles would sometimes have little explanations for words and would kind of like tell you that there's no real I don't know if it would say, I can't remember what I would see, but it would somehow indicate that there's no real translation for this particular word or something like that. You just get the sense that I'm not getting the full context of what they're saying. Maybe it wasn't that they were saying that, you just hear that, Maybe it'll be a word that I learned or something, and I'm like, there's no, maybe I knew there's no direct translation for that word or something. I can't remember, but I'd know that there'll be moments when I'm watching that, oh yeah, like I'm missing something. There's something I'm not getting here. Like that joke was funnier to a native Japanese speaker because there's just something I'm not getting. That there were multiple moments where I understood that there's something I'm missing. People don't realize that. People will watch an anime and think that they're just getting everything. You're not. Like there's levels to this. So the people that watch English dubbed, that they are having the lowest resolution experience, and people that watch English sub, that's like second tier, and then people that can actually speak Japanese, that's like top tier, first tier. That's the top tier experience because you're getting everything. You understand the context. You understand the deep meaning behind these words. And again, we went back. We discussed the concept of how there's just no direct equivalent for certain Japanese words. What do you actually call this phenomenon? Sorry, I'm just asking. Untranslatability or untranslatable words. I guess there's no sophisticated term for it. It just says untranslatability or untranslatable words. I don't think I could find anything. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, there's just certain words that you just can't translate. But they still hold weights, and there's still something about them that you can understand, and you just lose that when you just go over to English. Because it's also about how it's said. It just gives you something else. It just provides a different context. It just provides a different feeling. Because a language is also about feeling. You feel different things when you speak different languages. People need to understand this, man. It's not copy paste. It's not. These things are not interchangeable. When you lose a language, when a language just stops being spoken, you actually lose a lot. The culture goes away with it. Yeah, that's a great way of thinking. That's an accurate way of thinking. When you lose a language, you lose a culture. It's that simple. It's sad, but it happens all the time. But people just need to be aware that you can't just translate something and think that the job is done and you're getting the exact same experience. No, you're not. So going back to Metro Exodus, I that's why I wanted to listen to it in Russian. But like I said, the Russian performances were just kind of flat. So I was like, I'll just listen to it in English. Because the English voice actors seem to be putting in more effort. So even if I am losing some meaning and context or whatever, I'd much rather prefer the English performances because I feel like I have a richer experience there anyway. It'd be more fun listening to the English voice actors. I'll see. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe just takes some getting used to. I like the Russian accent because it's English but with a Russian accent like Metro. So even though they're speaking English, they're speaking with a Russian accent, which is nice because I like the Russian accent. I think it's thick. It's very. It has very distinct characteristics that I like. I think Russian females have sexy accents. I like the accents of Russian girls. I think that's attractive. Baby. Wait. I sound like Elvis. I sound like Elvis Presley. Do you want to go for a walk and have a dinner? Get in my car, I'll take you for a ride. What? Hey, my Russian accent's not bad, you know? My Russian accent's not bad. You know what we say about men like me? Once you go black, you never go black. Let's put an end to that. Let's put a stop to that. Yeah. But yeah, basically phonetics matter. So when we're talking about sub versus dub, keep that in mind, man. Keep that in mind. Look, people want to listen to things in English because it just works for them. They don't want to read. Okay, whatever. It's okay. But just know that you are losing something. Like there's no way around it. There is something that gets lost there, but maybe you don't care, and that's fine. I won't judge someone if they just genuinely like dubbed. Fair enough, but I just think it's important to have the understanding of why subbed in many ways is superior. Someone can make an argument for why dubbed is superior, I guess. I don't know what that argument would be, but I'm open to hearing it. Yeah, if someone can articulate that, then that would be cool. Yeah, but like I said, there are examples of dubbed being superior, like Dragon Ball. I think the only instance where dubbed is superior is just when it's performed better than sub. So Dragon Ball, the English voice acting is way better than the Japanese voice acting. It's not even close. Have you heard? Like they made Goku like super high pitched. I think Goku's voiced by a woman in the Japanese version, the Japanese voice acting, which is why he sounds like a little girl, and Vegeta as well. I don't know whose idea that was. In English, he sounds like a man. He sounds very masculine. His voice is deep. Vegeta as well, deep voice. They sound strong. In the Japanese version, they sound like they're on some sort of hormone therapy, bro. It does not sound good. So, oh my god, what is that guy, Mr. Popo? Whatever that really dark guy, that fat dark, whatever that guy, you know him? You know what I'm talking about? Black, fat red lips. His character design is actually crazy. That guy, his voice actor, bro. No, it was either him or King Kai. You know King Kai, the short blue one? That's Goku's always stressing him out. I think it was him. His voice actor, dude, phoned it in. The Japanese voice actor phoned it in. No effort. He sounds like he doesn't want to be there, dude. No intonation in his voice, no inflection. It's just the most plain delivery. Like the plainest delivery, and there's no enthusiasm, no energy. Every word sounds the same. There's no emphasis on anything. Doesn't convey any emotion besides boredom. And I'm like, what is this? Aren't they paying you? Like, do your job. Damn. I could do a better job than that. This guy is terrible. It sounds like the voice actor is just standing by the microphone and just reading his script like he just woke up. His eyes are half closed. You have to hear it to understand what I'm saying. Like, listen to Dragon Ball in Japanese dub and then hear the character for, I believe, King Kai. It's either him or Mr. Popo, one of those two. And then tell me what you think, if that was a good performance. No, terrible. So, yeah, I think that's an example when dubbed is way better. It's like if the Japanese voice actors don't put in effort. But that's rare. I think when it comes to anime, the Japanese are really good at conveying emotions and humor and all these sort of things. Like they're just very animated. no pun intended. Like My Hero Academia. Okay, I need to wrap up, but I just the last example. I prefer the Japanese. Oh my God, there's so many examples of this. Oh my, wait. Naruto's probably the best example of this. When they're saying the names of the jutsus. So fireball jutsu. When Sasuke says, you know, fire style, fireball jutsu in English, it doesn't sound good. No, it doesn't sound as good as when it's said in Japanese. What is fireball jutsu in Japanese? Just read it. Fireball jutsu in Japanese. Katon Kokyo no Jutsu. But it's the way he says it. It's like Katon Kokyo no Jutsu. And then it comes out. It sounds way more menacing and cool and whatever. Like when Madara shows up for the first time and gives his little speech to the ninja army before wiping them out. Did he give a speech? I don't think he gave a speech. I can't remember, but when Madara just speaks in general, he sounds way cooler in Japanese than he does in English. And when he says his jutsu, oh my God, it just sounds way cooler. When Naruto says his jutsu, when Kakashi says his jutsu, when someone is like super fast and it just pops up behind them, they're like hayai, which means fast. Like, oh, he's quick. They say hayai. It's way cooler when they say it that way than if they say, oh, he's quick, he's fast. It's like, it doesn't sound the same. It doesn't sound the same. What's another example? Yeah, just the jutsus, when they're announcing their jutsus, it sounds way better in Japanese. It just sounds cooler. And then with My Hero Academia, when the fight between All Might and All for One, whatever his name was, in that first season, I believe, whatever season it was, they fought, and you know, All Might loves announcing his moves before he does them. And I think all those heroes do that. I guess I'm not sure. I forgot the name of the movie. When he says it with the Japanese accent, they put so much energy behind it, dude. You know how they are. It just sounds cooler. It just sounds way more energetic and just really gets you going. Translate that to English, it's not the same, man. I just feel like people who watch and dub are missing out, man. You're like, oh, I'm missing out. You're not having the same experience. At the very least, you're not having the same experience. Whether that's better or worse, I guess it's up to you. But you're not having the same experience. So this notion that there's no difference is ridiculous. There is a difference. There is a significant difference. Anyway, I've exhausted this topic. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I like to pray at the end of my video. So, dear Father God, I thank you for the individual watching this right now. Thank you for making my whole unique and guiding the path towards peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you for blessing this person. Wonderfully through the life. Love them, take care of them, think the absolute best of them. Thank you for maintaining the ones that are there to do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with love and marriage, and staying in love and marriage, and make them very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with the spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for the wonderful things in their life, for making thanks and find peace, contentment, and attract even more blessings. Let your presence be felt in this person's life. See that you're God, that you're real, that you love them, you're be there for them. Good health, long life, and happiness over this person. And everyone that care about you, my name, I pray in Jesus, and I pray, amen.